I want you to see something. Take a look at this image. This place I want to visit, never been. Sao Paulo. This is 4 p.m. in the evening. No, there's no massive alien ship like Independence Day that's hovering over that's dark in the sky. And no, there's not birds or bats or any kind of fowl that's flying through the sky that's blocking out the sky. Nor is there a thunderstorm or rainstorm right now at the moment. So why the weird and freakish weather anomaly? The Amazon is on fire. Literally. What the picture you're seeing is 1,700 miles away from the source of the fire. Think about that for the moment. Think of the intensity, the heat, the amount of burning and ash that has to take place in order to ship it 1,700 miles. And it's not just Brazil. It's also Paraguay, Bolivia, and many of the other countries that are around, meaning the Amazon being on fire has literally covered multiple countries and is going 1,700 miles to cover the sky and turn 4 p.m. into night. Jair Bolsonaro, the president, the one that was threatening Glenn Greenwald, is responsible. No matter how much he lies, no matter what he says. He got into office with this notion of exploiting the resources of Amazon. And he was going to have pro-business policies. In doing so, he cut funding to environmental agencies that were supposed to protect that particular region because he wanted miners and people who can essentially loggers and various other organizations to be able to get their hands on the resources of the Amazon. And in cutting back on protection of that area, you get what you would expect. Chaos. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you like this content, dig this content, you find yourself coming back to this channel often, please like this video, share this video, and absolutely, completely subscribe, and also hit the little notification bell. It is, 12 o'clock. I'm doing the news. I do the news pretty much anytime I'm awake and adamant I'm an insomniac. So I'm here all the time. One of my subscribers, a long-time subscriber, actually sent me this. And I had to be honest, I didn't know anything about this. I asked my wife, I said, do you know that the Amazon is on fire? She says, yeah, I knew that. The question is, just because you know it on an intellectual level, do you know how bad it is, So take a look at this. This is a radar image. That's astonishing. That's from the fire. All of this, and the countries that it's covering, is the biomass that is being eaten away by that fire. The biomass from the rainforest. The Amazon rainforest is 20% of the world's apparently trees. Meaning 20% of the trees that deal with oxygen and everything else, because I just want to make sure I'm right. I don't want to get this wrong. Effectively, 20% of the oxygen, ignore what I just said, 20% of the oxygen of Earth's atmosphere comes from the Amazon. That's what the 20% was for. It didn't sound right. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. But 20% of the world's oxygen is produced by the Amazon. That is a massive amount considering it's coming from one very specific area. That area is in flames. That area is burning to the degree of 1.5 soccer fields every minute. Every minute. Think about that. 1.5 soccer fields are being destroyed every minute in this particular area that is literally, in real terms, the Earth's lungs. Now, when the argument is made about climate change, it's always made from the standpoint of everything is going to stay exactly the way everything is, and if that happens, what happens in this kind of thing. The world doesn't work that way. This guy has policies that are affecting this. What you're seeing here. That's policy. That's policy that did that. That wasn't an act of God. That wasn't magic. Those were policies, pro-business policies, that looked at the Amazon as a resource to be exploited. Meaning, the fact that 20% of the oxygen come from that region of the world mattered less than his ability to exploit it as a business opportunity. That's astonishing. That's terrifying, but that's astonishing. Because we're talking about real things. Oxygen is a real thing. Your ability to breathe is a real thing. And those trees sucking in carbon dioxide, the thing that is filling our atmosphere, mattered less. Mattered less. Here's another image. This is Al Jazeera. Take a look at this. This is how it's burning. It's burning at a record rate. Do you know when Bolsonaro was told that the forest is burning at a record rate, he said, lies, lies. I don't believe you that it's burning at a record rate. I want to show you something else. Take a look at this. This is rainwater. In that bottle, that's rainwater. That pitch black bottle is full of rainwater from Brazil. That's how bad it is. You're the president of Brazil, one of the resources of the planet. And by the way, you know, this is one of those things where this is not just individual actors. Everyone breathes air. That's 20% of the world's oxygen, not 20% of Brazil's oxygen. So you have to answer for that. You have to answer for that. How did that happen? Bolsonaro, President Bolsonaro, how did that happen? Bolsonaro said, straight face, those NGOs that are active in this area are to blame. And that crime is a real thing, and that because he's taking money from these guys, that these guys are pissed off. He defunded the protection agency that was supposed to be dealing with this thing to the tune of $23 million. $23 million. The organization that was supposed to ensure that this didn't happen was defunded to the tune of $23 million. But the issue here is those NGOs. Those guys train their scientists. They learn all of the stuff that they have to do. They invest in all of these things, and then they turn around and start fires. Why? Why are they starting fires, Bolsonaro? Because they want to make him look bad. This is entirely to make him look bad. This is like Netanyahu saying the telegenic Palestinians. Dead telegenic Palestinians. Those Palestinians are doing this and getting shot and murdered and bleeding out because they're trying to make me look bad. Bolsonaro is making the same excuse. The NGOs that are responsible for making sure this doesn't happen and protecting the Amazon and ensuring that the world gets that 20% oxygen and that those trees continue to suck up that sweet carbon dioxide in producing that oxygen, that those NGOs, those nefarious NGOs, are responsible. That is utterly and entirely ludicrous. What's responsible are your business policies. That's what's responsible. What's responsible is that you looked at this region as an area to be exploited, not an area to which we use to breathe. That's what's responsible. The NGO argument is nonsense. It doesn't matter that it's nonsense, though. He's the president of that particular country, and just like Trump, he can lie flagrantly, and he can walk with that lie. Who's going to challenge him for it? Nobody's going to challenge him for it. The guy's a damn near fascist. So he can look into a camera, and he could say, those damn NGOs are responsible for this. So what are you going to do, a show trial? Are we going to get a show trial? Are you going to put an NGO on the stand and go after them prosecutorially? I mean, after all, if you're saying they're responsible for this, there has to be consequences for that, right? So what are you going to do? What NGO are you going to lock up in response to this? Where's your show trial? It wasn't the NGOs. It was you. You took policies that allowed this to take place. And blaming the NGOs is not just ludicrous, but considering the possible repercussions of this. I mean, understand what's going on. This is literally what the sky looks like. And those fires are just pumping this stuff into the sky. And let alone that, the amount of debris that's being cleared. Do you realize the burning that is taking place? It's 88% more than what it was over the previous year in June. And when Bolsonaro heard that, Bolsonaro said, "You are lying. You're lying. Your research is a lie. Your research is a lie. Those horrible, horrible, dirty scientists that are just lying to make me look bad." That's what he thinks. But he doesn't think that at all. Between him and his God, he knows the truth. But the truth doesn't matter. What matters is business gets its buck, exploiting that resource. And if these fires are getting in the way of doing that, then I'm going to blame it on NGOs. But I need to exploit those resources. But this is how insane capitalism is. It is known as a flat fact known that this forest is instrumental in ensuring that all of us can get up in the morning, take a deep breath, and go about our way. Instrumental in whatever, climate change model exists of remaining intact. But right now, 1.5 soccer fields are being burned every minute, after minute, after minute. This video has gone 11 minutes. 15, 16 soccer fields up in smoke. That's astonishing. That's astonishing. There will be no consequences for this because all of this is a result of the president's actions. And if you catch some business or something like that that's responsible for it, then the whole NGO thing goes out the window. I was enamored by this. I couldn't believe this. I got to be honest. I didn't know this. He said crime exists and we need to make sure that this type of crime does not increase. We took money from the NGOs. Those dastardly NGOs are just out there starting fires. They're feeling the pinch from the funding, so maybe the NGO types are conducting these criminal acts in order to generate negative attention against me. Telegenically dead Palestinians. But in this case, we're talking about wildfires. That's astonishing. That's astonishing. Yeah, that's astonishing. The NGOs responded to this. They called it vile. They said rights groups called Brazilian president's unfounded claims sick and pitiful as the fires rage on parts of the Amazon. Sick and pitiful is an understatement. Take a look at this. Here's some more pictures from it. Let's blow this up. Okay, that's blowing it up too much. So let's go back to this one. Look at this. An aerial view of the tract of Amazon jungle burning as it's being cleared by loggers and farmers near the city of Novo Progresso. And this is Al Jazeera giving its wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Environmentalists in other Brazil disputes Wednesday's far-right President Bolsonaro's unfounded claim that NGOs are responsible for the wildfires. It's not just unfounded, it's literally ludicrous. I mean, come on. It's clear that if you have a business perspective and that the fact that, this is an area to be exploited and people who are going out exploiting that have a higher tendency to not care about that stuff, meaning they're using fire to clear the forest and that fire gets out of control. And they asked Bolsonaro, what's going on? It's like, oh, those dastardly NGOs. Those dastardly NGOs. They called the claim a smokescreen to hide the dismantling of protections for the world's largest tropical rainforest and said farmers clearing the land were the cause of the surge in forest fires. Now, what makes more sense to you? Think about it for yourself. What makes more sense? Farmers, loggers, all of these people are using fires to clear the land. And in using fires to clear the land, they get a little out of hand. Or NGOs are trying to make Bolsonaro look bad. Which one has the ring of truth to it? Oh, that's a toughie. That's a toughie. Let's see. A president has pro-business policies that cuts regulations and cuts restrictions around the type of the actions that can take place within the context of the rainforest. He gets rid of many of the protections. He defunds the organizations that are supposed to be involved in protecting the rainforest. And lo and behold, look at this. You have, fires. Fires. Massive fires out of control. Or NGOs are just trying to make him look bad because he's cut their funding. I know which one I believe. Bolsonaro is responsible for this. But the blame where it lies. And calling NGOs, bringing them into it, is pathetic. Sad and pathetic. I'll leave it here. Thanks all.